The galaxy had seen countless wars, countless civilizations rise and fall, but nothing quite like this. A single human, standing alone against an entire alien army, seemed almost impossible. Yet impossibility was a word that humanity had never truly feared. On the barren battlefield of Xeran Prime, where the ground was scorched black and the sky glimmered with a sickly green hue, the alien army gathered in vast formations. Their ships hovered like predators circling prey, their weapons charging, casting eerie flashes of light over the wasteland. And yet, in the midst of this overwhelming force, a lone human figure stood unwavering. Kai was his name, though names mattered little in the grand scheme of war. What mattered was resolve, courage, and the unwillingness to surrender. Every instinct told him to run, to hide, but that was never Kai's nature. From the moment he had joined the human resistance, he had chosen defiance over fear. The alien forces had underestimated humans repeatedly, counting on logic, strategy, and sheer numbers to overpower them. What they had never accounted for was human unpredictability, the chaotic brilliance that came from the will to survive. Kai adjusted the strap of his armor, a composite suit reinforced with human-engineered energy shields. It was barely enough to withstand a direct hit from the alien plasma cannons, but it would do for now. Around him, the battlefield was a mixture of ruined landscapes and mechanical monstrosities. Broken drones littered the ground, some still twitching with residual energy, and the occasional crackle of electricity surged through the air. Each step Kai took echoed like a drumbeat, a single heartbeat resonating amidst the chaos. The alien commanders, massive beings of chitinous exoskeleton and gleaming eyes, observed him from their floating command platforms. To them, Kai was nothing more than a trivial anomaly, a weak human foolish enough to challenge their might. Messages crackled through their telepathic network, discussions of strategy and probability. None considered that a single human could alter the course of what they had assumed would be a swift conquest. Probability, they realized too late, was not always reality. Kai did not hesitate. He sprinted forward, his boots striking the scorched earth, leaving streaks of dust behind. The first wave of alien drones descended from the sky like a swarm of locusts. Their metallic bodies gleamed under the eerie green light, wings buzzing with energy as their weapons targeted him. Most humans would have frozen. He rolled to the side, narrowly avoiding a plasma blast that exploded with a deafening roar. Without thinking, he drew his pulse rifle, calibrated to fire rapid bursts, each shot finding its mark with deadly precision. The drones fell one after another, sparks flying as metal screamed against the human bullets. But the alien army did not falter. They adapted, recalibrating their targeting systems and sending heavier units forward. These were towering constructs, bristling with cannons and missile pods. Kai knew he could not take them all head-on. Instead, he used the terrain to his advantage, ducking behind the ruins of collapsed buildings, luring the constructs into narrow passages where their size worked against them. With a series of well-placed explosives, the first two constructs were sent crashing into the valley below, their weapons tearing apart the ground around them. A commotion erupted behind him. Alien infantry had landed, their clawed limbs tearing through the terrain with astonishing speed. Kai spun around, unleashing a flurry of shots, but there were too many. He ducked and dodged, feeling a scrape along his arm as one of the alien's claws grazed him. Pain surged, but he ignored it. Human endurance was fueled not only by physical strength, but by the unyielding spirit within. Memories flashed in his mind of his home planet burning, of families lost, of friends who had fallen to the alien invasion. Every loss had forged him, honed him into something the aliens had not anticipated, a human with nothing to lose. He moved with a mix of calculated precision and raw instinct, improvising traps from debris, using fallen alien technology against them. A plasma turret he had salvaged earlier was reprogrammed and sent flying toward an incoming squad, detonating in a burst of blue fire. Alien bodies were thrown in every direction, the remaining infantry faltering under the sudden chaos. Despite the relentless assault, Kai's focus never wavered. He knew this was more than a battle of survival. It was a statement. Humanity was never meant to bow, to retreat, or to be tamed. Every shot he fired, every maneuver he executed, was a message to the galaxy. Humans were a force unlike any other, unpredictable and indomitable. His pulse rifle clicked empty, and he dropped it just in time to catch a fallen alien blade, sharp and humming with energy. He tested its weight, felt the power of its plasma edge, and grinned. "Let's dance," he muttered under his breath. The alien forces responded with overwhelming speed. Hundreds more poured in from the sky, massive cruisers unleashing volleys of plasma fire. Kai sprinted across the battlefield, weaving between explosions, his new weapon slicing through alien armor with uncanny precision. The battlefield had become a symphony of chaos, explosions lighting up the green sky, smoke curling like serpents around shattered machinery. Yet, amidst it all, one human stood unbroken, a beacon of defiance. Kai's strategy shifted from offense to misdirection. He led the aliens into a narrow canyon, using the natural terrain to funnel their forces. Mines hidden beneath the dust exploded in synchronized timing, sending shockwaves that toppled even the largest constructs. Alien soldiers screamed, their eerie vocalizations reverberating off the canyon walls, but still more came. One by one, Kai dismantled their formations, exploiting every weakness, every miscalculation. Hours passed, or perhaps it was only minutes' time, and lost meaning in the fury of battle. Kai's armor was scorched, his body bruised and bleeding, yet his eyes burned with relentless determination. The alien commanders watched, astonished. This was not a fight they could control. Probability, tactics, and overwhelming numbers were failing against the sheer unpredictability of human will. Kai's mind raced with plans, contingencies, and possibilities. There was no time to hesitate. With a deep breath, he activated the final measure he had been preparing since the start. A network of charges rigged beneath the battlefield, designed to collapse the alien siege entirely. He sprinted toward the central nexus of the enemy's forces, dodging plasma fire and alien strikes, his heart pounding with anticipation and fear alike. This was it, the moment where one human could decide the fate of thousands. The explosions began, synchronized and devastating. Alien cruisers toppled, infantry units scattered in panic, and the sky itself seemed to burn with the energy of the blast. Kai moved through the chaos, relentless, unstoppable. One by one, he eliminated key targets, turning the tide not through sheer strength, but through ingenuity and courage. When the dust finally settled, the battlefield was unrecognizable. Fires burned across the ruins of what had been an alien stronghold. Silence fell, broken only by the distant hum of failing machinery. And in the midst of it, Kai stood alone, battered, bloodied, but undefeated. Humanity had survived again, against odds that no other species would have dared face. Kai looked up at the green sky, smoke curling around him, and knew this battle was only the beginning. The galaxy had underestimated humans once again. But from this day forward, every civilization would remember the name of the human who fought an entire alien army, alone and won. The echoes of battle still reverberated across Zirin Prime as Kai caught his breath, surveying the devastation he had wrought. Smoke and fire twisted into dark columns. The alien technology that had once seemed invincible now lay in twisted heaps. The human heart, the stubborn core of Kai's spirit, had turned the tide of the impossible. Yet, he knew better than to believe the fight was over. Every alien army had backup. Every invasion plan had contingencies. And every victory carried the weight of consequences yet unseen. Kai's mind raced. through strategies as he began moving cautiously across the battlefield. He picked his path with care, staying alert for traps and lingering enemy forces. Even with the majority of the alien army destroyed or incapacitated, small squads could still ambush him. The human instinct for survival sharpened every sense, each movement measured yet fluid. Honed by countless hours of combat training and battlefield experience above him, alien drones still hovered, their sensors scanning for movement. Kai ducked into the shadows of a crumbling tower, the jagged ruins offering him temporary concealment. He studied the drones, noting patterns in their flight, weaknesses in their scanning protocols. Humans had a peculiar ability to turn even disadvantage into advantage, and Kai's mind churned with ideas to exploit every flaw. He activated a hacked alien signal jammer, causing several drones to spiral out of control before crashing in bursts of light and fire. Each destruction was a reminder that even against overwhelming odds, human creativity and resilience could not be contained. The silence that followed was eerie. The cries of alien soldiers had ceased, leaving only the occasional hiss of machinery. Kai knew better than to relax completely. The galaxy had countless eyes, countless agents, and now a single human had proven that they were a force to be reckoned with. This would not go unnoticed. Somewhere, someone or something was already recalculating strategies to deal with him. And Kai was prepared for a dot. As he moved forward, Kai stumbled across alien corpses, their bodies still twitching with residual energy. Among them were commanders, marked by ornate exoskeletons and strange glyphs etched into their armor. Their defeat sent a ripple of fear through the remaining alien forces across the system. Rumors of a lone human fighting an entire army were already spreading through channels. Legends had a strange way of manifesting quickly in the Galactic network, and humans, though underestimated, had always understood the power of fear and myth. Kai pressed on, navigating through the wreckage of downed ships and shattered towers. He was searching for intelligence, anything that could provide him with insight into the alien hierarchy and the next wave of attacks. The human penchant for curiosity, for understanding the enemy, was as deadly as any weapon. He found data cores, alien logs filled with strategic plans, battle reports, and communications. Each fragment of information added another piece to the puzzle, allowing him to anticipate moves before they were executed. Hours turned into an endless blur as Kai deciphered the alien technology. He learned of fleets stationed in neighboring sectors, of contingencies that had been put in place for situations exactly like this one. He learned that the aliens were not merely warriors. They were meticulous planners who viewed the universe through the lens of logic and control. Yet, in their pursuit of perfection, they had overlooked the chaotic, unquantifiable factor. Human instinct. By now, word of Kai's survival and victory had spread among the scattered human resistance. Transmissions crackled with reports of entire battalions gaining renewed morale, emboldened by the knowledge that one human had defied impossible odds and emerged victorious. Kai became a symbol, not just of survival, but of defiance, a rallying point for every human fighting against the alien oppression. Humanity thrived on stories like these. Legends were their lifeblood, shaping courage into a tangible weapon. But celebration was not an option yet. The alien remnants were not defeated. They were wounded, enraged, and more dangerous than ever. Kai's mind worked relentlessly, piecing together a plan to strike at the heart of the alien command structure. Intelligence indicated a mobile fortress, a colossal ship bristling with weapons, where the remaining leaders had regrouped. Taking it down would not be simple. It was essentially a small city in the sky, protected by shields, fighter escorts, and automated defenses. And yet, Kai felt a surge of determination. If one human could survive against thousands, he could infiltrate and dismantle the fortress from within. Kai began preparations. scavenging alien weaponry and technology, modifying them with human ingenuity. Devices that had seemed purely defensive were now turned into offensive tools. Turrets became remote bombs, drones were reprogrammed to act as distractions, and energy shields were overloaded to cause chain reactions. Each modification was risky, a gamble that could either succeed spectacularly or fail catastrophically. But humans thrived on risk. Where logic ended, instinct began. And instinct had guided Kai this far. As he tested a newly constructed plasma disruptor, Kai remembered the faces of those who had inspired him. The fallen comrades, the families left behind, the countless humans who had fought and died without recognition. They were with him now, fueling his resolve. Every pulse of energy from his devices felt like a tribute to their sacrifices. Humans were stubborn, relentless, and capable of acts that defied probability. He embodied that stubbornness perfectly. Night fell over Ziran Prime, the green sky turning into an even darker hue, punctuated by distant flashes from ongoing skirmishes. Kai moved under the cover of darkness, avoiding patrols and sensors, creeping closer to the alien mobile fortress. He studied the pattern of their defenses, memorized patrol routes, and calculated the exact timing needed to infiltrate without triggering alarms. Every step was precise, every decision critical. The weight of the mission pressed down on him, yet he walked forward unflinchingly. Finally, Kai reached the perimeter of the fortress. It loomed above him like a dark monolith, its hull pulsating with energy, shields visible as shimmering waves across its surface. The scale of it was overwhelming, even for a human used to fighting against impossible odds. But Kai's mind focused, filtering out fear and awe, replacing it with the clarity of purpose. This fortress was the key. Destroy it, and the remaining alien forces would fall into disarray. Strike it down, and humanity could breathe, if only for a moment. Using an access point he had discovered through the alien logs, Kai infiltrated the lower levels of the fortress. Automated defenses reacted instantly, scanning and targeting him. He dodged energy beams, leapt over laser grids, and used the darkness to his advantage. Inside, the corridors were a labyrinth of alien design, unfamiliar geometry, and shifting architecture that challenged human perception. Yet instinct guided him. Humans had a remarkable ability to adapt to the unknown, to exploit chaos rather than be consumed by it. Every step brought him closer to the command center, where the alien leaders awaited. Surveillance drones buzzed overhead, yet he moved like a ghost, exploiting blind spots and looping corridors. The alien soldiers inside were organized, disciplined, and ready for confrontation. But they had not faced a human like Kie warrior fueled by more than logic, driven by instinct, defiance, and unbreakable will. Finally, Kai reached the core of the fortress. Massive energy conduits ran along the walls, powering the entire ship. The alien leaders, sensing his presence, activated shields and called for reinforcements. Kai did not hesitate. He planted explosive disruptors, calculated to overload the fortress's energy grid. Alarms blared, lights flashed, and the alien leaders realized, too late, that the human they had dismissed as insignificant had penetrated the heart of their fortress. Kai fought fiercely, combining his human agility with the alien weapons he had adapted. Each move was decisive, each strike turning the tide further in his favor. Despite being outnumbered, he remained unstoppable, proving again that human determination could not be measured by numbers alone. The first chain reaction detonated, sending tremors through the fortress. Energy conduits exploded, alarms turned into fire, and the alien command was thrown into chaos. Kai navigated the collapsing corridors, planting final charges and ensuring that the fortress would never recover. When the final explosion occurred, it shook the sky above Ziran Prime, the fortress, a monument of alien strength. disintegrated in a spectacular display of fire and light. Kai emerged from the wreckage, battered and scarred, yet alive. He had accomplished the impossible. A single human had destroyed an alien command fortress, turning the tide of war entirely. Kai stood amidst the ruins, breathing in the acrid scent of molten metal and burning circuits. The fortress was no more, but the echoes of battle had left scars on both the planet and his body. His muscles ached, his vision blurred at the edges, yet he felt an unshakable clarity. Survival was never the end. It was the beginning of something greater. The galaxy would remember this day, not just for the destruction of the alien fortress, but for the undeniable proof that humans were a force unlike any other. Moving forward, Kai assessed the remaining threats. Small squads of alien soldiers had scattered across the perimeter, regrouping where they could. They had lost their command structure, their cohesion shattered, yet desperation made them dangerous. Each movement he made was calculated, blending stealth with precise strikes. Humans had a reputation for unpredictability, for turning the tide through ingenuity and raw determination. And Kai embodied every aspect of that reputation. He scavenged what he could from the wreckage: alien weapons, power cells, and tactical devices. Every item was a potential advantage, every piece of technology a puzzle to solve. By repurposing the enemy's tools, Kai turned their own strengths against them. It was a hallmark of human strategy to adapt, improvise, and overcome even the most overwhelming obstacles. Each step forward solidified the legend that was rapidly spreading among the surviving humans, and even the alien forces who dared to watch Kai paused near a fallen observation tower, scanning the horizon. Smoke and fire painted the sky in unnatural colors, a warning to anyone who dared approach. His instincts told him that the aliens would attempt a counterstrike, that reinforcements were on the way. The galaxy was vast, and the remnants of this empire would not accept defeat quietly. Yet Kai's resolve remained unshaken. Humans did not yield. They adapted, evolved, and thrived. Even in the face of annihilation. As he advanced, Kai discovered a communications hub buried under debris. Ancient alien symbols adorned the walls, glowing faintly as he interfaced with the system. With careful precision, he decrypted messages detailing reinforcements, strategies, and potential weak points in the alien network. Knowledge, as humans had learned over millennia, was just as deadly as firepower. By understanding the enemy's intentions, Kai could anticipate their moves, turning their strengths into vulnerabilities. Hours passed as he hacked into the system, rerouting enemy drones and intercepting transmissions. He sent false signals that would confuse any reinforcements, creating diversions that bought time for human resistance cells across neighboring sectors. Each command he issued was calculated to maximize chaos while minimizing exposure. Humans thrived in chaos. It was a battlefield where instinct and creativity surpassed rigid logic. Kai had become a master of this battlefield, a single mind manipulating the tides of war in ways that no alien algorithm could predict. Night fell, casting long shadows across the ruined landscape. Kai knew he could not rest for long. Alien patrols were still active, and reinforcements could arrive at any moment. But for a brief period, he allowed himself to reflect. The victory was monumental, yet incomplete. The galaxy had been shaken, but the war was far from over. This was not just a fight for survival, it was a fight for recognition. A fight to prove that humans were more than just another species in the cosmic hierarchy. Kai's thoughts turned to the people he had left behind. Families, fellow warriors, scientists, and explorers, all relying on humans to hold the line. He felt a deep connection to them, a responsibility that transcended personal survival. Every life, every struggle, fueled the determination within him. Humans were not merely survivors. They were fighters, dreamers, and strategists. Their refusal to yield, to surrender to fear or despair, was their greatest weapon. Kai carried that weapon forward, embodying the indomitable human spirit. As dawn approached, he began to encounter the first remnants of organized alien resistance. Smaller squads, desperate and angry, attempted ambushes. But Kai, moving with the precision of a seasoned warrior, neutralized each threat. His movements were a blend of human intuition and alien-adapted tactics. No corner was safe for the enemy, no pattern predictable enough to exploit him. Every encounter reinforced the lesson that humans thrived on unpredictability, that their capacity for innovation and sheer stubbornness made them uniquely formidable. Kai's path eventually led him to a massive alien transport vessel attempting to retreat from the battlefield. It was guarded, heavily armed, but he saw an opportunity. By luring the ship toward destabilized terrain, he created an environment where its defenses were compromised. Using a combination of hacked drones and improvised explosives, he initiated a chain reaction that crippled the vessel. The explosion lit the horizon like a second sunrise, a reminder that one human, when resourceful and relentless, could turn the course of history. Despite the overwhelming odds, Kai pressed deeper into enemy territory. He discovered alien supply depots, weapons caches, and hidden communication hubs. Each discovery provided crucial intelligence. Each victory a morale boost for human resistance forces scattered across the galaxy. The ripple effect of his actions was immediate. Humans gained confidence, reorganized, and prepared for future battles with renewed vigor. The alien forces, on the other hand, were thrown into disarray, struggling to adapt to a human who defied every expectation. Kai's journey was not without internal struggle. Exhaustion gnawed at him. Memories of fallen comrades haunted his thoughts, and the sheer scale of destruction weighed heavily. Yet every challenge reinforced his determination. Humans were creatures of resilience, capable of enduring unimaginable suffering without surrendering to despair. Kai's body and mind became a testament to that resilience, a living embodiment of the species' refusal to bow to impossible odds. As the sun rose fully, Kai reached the edge of the alien command's secondary fortress. It was smaller, but still formidable. Drones patrolled the skies, laser grids crisscrossed the exterior, and the walls hummed with energy. Yet Kai's presence was undeterred. Every step was deliberate, every decision a calculated risk. The human capacity for problem-solving under pressure allowed him to identify weaknesses, exploit gaps, and outmaneuver the alien defenses with a combination of intuition and tactical brilliance. Inside the fortress, the remaining alien leadership convened, unaware of the lone human infiltrator moving silently among them. Kai observed patterns, studied routines, and prepared his final strike. Humans had a way of turning the impossible into opportunity, of transforming fear into action. Kai exemplified this, moving with purpose, harnessing both intellect and instinct. Every action was precise, every maneuver designed to maximize impact while minimizing exposure. Finally, Kai struck, disabling the central power grid and creating chaos within the fortress. Alien leaders scrambled, issuing commands, attempting to regain control. But human ingenuity and adaptability were unmatched. Kai moved like a force of nature, striking critical points, neutralizing threats, and ensuring that the fortress would never recover. By the time the dust settled, the alien stronghold was in ruins, its leadership decimated, and the remaining forces scattered and demoralized. Emerging from the fortress, Kai gazed over the battlefield. Fires still burned, smoke rose into the alien sky, and scattered survivors from both sides moved cautiously among the wreckage. The legend of one human defeating entire alien armies was now fact, undeniable and impossible to ignore. Kai's journey had been perilous, but it had proven a truth that no alien could dismiss. Humans were unpredictable, relentless, and capable of feats that defied expectation. Kai stood at the summit of the alien stronghold's ruined walls, wind whipping through the torn banners and smoldering wreckage below. The battlefield was eerily silent, the chaos of combat replaced by the soft hum of dying machines and distant cries of survivors. He allowed himself a moment to breathe, to take in the scope of what had been accomplished. One human, against overwhelming odds, had turned the tide. The galaxy would never forget this day. As he descended into the heart of the fortress, Kai encountered small pockets of alien resistance. They were frightened, disoriented, and leaderless. Their attacks were sporadic, lacking coordination, and easily countered. Yet Kai did not underestimate them. Even a desperate enemy could inflict damage. Every movement he made was precise, each strike deliberate. His human instinct for survival, coupled with the lessons learned from countless battles, allowed him to neutralize threats efficiently and decisively. Within the command chamber, Kai discovered the Alien Council's archives. Holographic displays flickered to life, revealing plans, communications, and intelligence networks spanning multiple star systems. By studying these, Kai understood the broader scope of the conflict. The alien empire had underestimated humans repeatedly, dismissing them as weak and primitive. That mistake, born of arrogance, had become their undoing. Humans did not surrender. They adapted, innovated, and fought with a resilience that no algorithm or weapon system could predict. Kai transmitted what he had found to allied human forces across the galaxy. Every piece of intelligence was a weapon, every revelation a strategic advantage. Humans had long relied on ingenuity, unpredictability, and courage to survive in hostile environments, and now those same traits were being leveraged on a galactic scale. Resistance cells prepared to mobilize, fortified by knowledge and inspired by the legend of one human turning the impossible into reality. The alien survivors, disheartened and leaderless, attempted to regroup for a final stand. Kai anticipated their moves, predicting the paths they would take, the weak points they would exploit, and the desperation that would cloud their judgment. Using a combination of alien tech and human tactics, he created traps, forced retreats, and sowed confusion among their ranks. Every engagement demonstrated the human capacity for adaptability, cunning, and relentless determination. The aliens were outmatched not only in strength, but in creativity and resolve. As the day progressed, Kai's efforts culminated in a final confrontation at the heart of the alien fleet's communication hub. The remaining leaders attempted to coordinate a last-ditch counterattack, but their systems were compromised, their strategies predictable to a human who had mastered the art of improvisation. Kai disabled their defenses, isolated command nodes, and struck decisively. The alien leaders fell, their plans in ruins, their forces scattered. The galaxy had witnessed an unprecedented demonstration of human capability, one individual changing the course of a war through intellect, courage, and sheer willpower. Kai paused to reflect. He had endured injuries, exhaustion, and near impossible odds, yet he stood victorious. His success was not merely a personal achievement, it symbolized the resilience of the entire human species. Humans thrived in adversity, transformed challenges into opportunities, and turned the impossible into reality. The galaxy, once dismissive of humanity, now understood a universal truth. Humans were not to be underestimated. Their unpredictability, resourcefulness, and refusal to yield made them formidable beyond comprehension. Word of Kai's actions spread across star systems. Humans in distant colonies and outposts celebrated the victory, inspired by the knowledge that courage and intelligence could overcome even the most daunting threats. Alien civilizations, meanwhile, began to reassess their assumptions, recognizing that humans were not just survivors, they were strategists, warriors, and agents of chaos in the best sense of the word. The narrative of one human against 1,000 alien forces became legend, a story told and retold in hushed tones and wide-eyed astonishment. Kai understood that the battle was more than tactical. It was symbolic. The galaxy had witnessed the embodiment of human stubbornness, ingenuity, and the refusal to surrender. For every alien who had doubted humanity, there would now be a lesson written in fire and triumph. Kai had not only survived, he had redefined the parameters of possibility. His actions demonstrated that survival was not enough. Humans fought to dominate, to innovate, and to ensure their legacy would echo across the stars. In the aftermath, Kai coordinated the evacuation of remaining prisoners, both human and alien, ensuring that the conflict's end did not breed unnecessary vengeance. Humans were fierce, yes, but their strength also lay in their capacity for calculated mercy and strategic foresight. By controlling the narrative, securing intelligence, and neutralizing threats with precision, Kai ensured that humanity's victory would be remembered not just for the destruction of alien forces, but for the enduring principles that had made the triumph possible: courage, creativity, and unyielding determination. As he surveyed the horizon, the remnants of alien fleets reading in disarray, Kai felt a deep sense of closure. The battle was over, the impossible had been achieved, and humanity's place in the galaxy was firmly established. One human, standing against 1,000 enemies, had proven that fearlessness, intellect, and adaptability were weapons more potent than any fleet or weapon system. The galaxy would forever remember that humans did not surrender, did not retreat, and could not be underestimated. Kai's story would inspire generations of humans and alien civilizations alike. It would serve as a testament to the relentless spirit that defined humanity, a species capable of turning desperation into triumph and chaos into victory. He had survived when all odds were stacked against him, and in doing so, had rewritten the rules of engagement across the galaxy. Humans were no longer simply participants in cosmic affairs. They were a force to be reckoned with, capable of shaping destiny itself. In the quiet aftermath, Kai allowed himself a rare moment of reflection. The battles had been fierce, the losses significant. Yet every challenge had strengthened him, every obstacle sharpened his mind, and every enemy encounter reinforced the truth that humans thrived where others faltered. This was the legacy he carried forward, the lesson etched into the fabric of the galaxy. Never underestimate a human, for their greatest weapon is their refusal to accept defeat. As Kai disappeared into the horizon, leaving behind the ruins and the echoes of war, the galaxy understood something profound. Humans were unpredictable, unstoppable, and unforgettable. One human could defy logic, overcome overwhelming odds, and emerge victorious where all others would fail. The legend of Kai, the human who fought against impossible odds, would endure forever. The story concluded, yet the impact reverberated across the cosmos, a reminder that humanity's strength was not just in numbers, but in spirit, in courage, and in the unbreakable will to survive and prevail.